Hi, Kirsten. Well, things are a little busier out here this morning, specifically behind the link on Coble and Westchester. And how do I know that? Well, this is how I know that. This is just some of the mess left behind from this windy weekend, including these 3 down power lines, which NV Energy crews have been working around the clock to get up and running again. And we're talking about 60-mile-per-hour winds that hit parts of the valley this weekend, and some of them so strong that they took down these 3 power lines behind me here. Traffic has picked up in the last half hour, as Michael mentioned. This time, we are going from southbound to the Spaghetti Bowl. I once had someone describe Las Vegas as a super hub of sex trafficking, and cases like this really don't help its reputation. Still very wet and slippery out here, and it doesn't matter how much experience you have as a driver, rain always makes conditions a lot more dangerous. Well, Demetria, you sent the right reporter. I've lived in Los Angeles, and once you deal with traffic out there, you develop a healthy sense of patience, which you're going to need right now. I'm putting so much faith in you, so start whenever, and I'll try not to flinch. 1. All right. Is it almost over?
Not yet.
That means a chance to bid on all kinds of items. Cars, a variety of items local governments are trying to get rid of, and right now you can pre-register for it. Nia Wong is at the auction site near Stephanie and Flamingo with the preview. Hi, Nia.
Hey, Kirsten, I'm here at the TNT auction yard, and with $66,000, I could bid on this fire engine and just drive off with it. Would I? That's an entirely different story, but my point is, this auction attracts people from all walks of life for all kinds of items, everything from fire trucks to Crown Vics to office supplies, everything up to the kitchen sink, which actually one year they did have for sale, but you won't find out until you get down here. Previewing started at 9 this morning, and we've seen dozens of people already looking for those good deals. This is the last and largest auction for the year. County officials tell me this is the largest inventory they've had so far, so much that it spills into 2 lots. Last year, $4.9 million went to government agencies, and $2.6 million of it went to Clark County agencies.
When they've got a catalog, this thick, there's surely something there you might be interested in, whether you end up with it or not.
You can preview these items online or at the TNT yard from today until Friday. There's also going to be items from McCarran Airport's Lost and Found department. Those won't be available for preview, but you can check them out on the day of the auction this Saturday. For now, county officials are urging people to use this time to preview items and to pre-register, which you can do on their website in English or Spanish. Reporting live from Southeast Las Vegas, Nia Wong, 8 News Now.
I don't know, Nia, that suits you. For 66 grand, that could be your new ride.
I don't know, my apartment complex would say okay, but it's worth a shot, right? So.
Yes. All right, thanks for that, Nia.
What's really sad here is that police tell me 16-year-old Jalen Fajardo was wearing a seatbelt at the time he was hit. He basically did everything right as a driver, but still ended up losing his life. Meanwhile, 47-year-old David Fench has multiple DUIs on his record. Last Thursday, police tell me Fajardo's car was stopped at a red light on Farm and Durango in Centennial Hills. Fajardo was on his way to Shadow Ridge High School, where he was a 10th grader and described as a star athlete. Around 6:15 that morning, Fench's Chevy Trailblazer drove through the back of Fajardo's car, and the impact was so great, the back of the car was shoved into the front of the vehicle, sending it skidding hundreds of feet across the intersection and killing the teen instantly. District Attorney Steve Wolfson says he plans to put his top 2 prosecutors on this case.
They've been given specific instructions about how to handle this case, but we're after the fact. We're prosecutors that get the cases after the person has chosen to drive. We need to get to those people before they make the decision.
Last Thursday, grief counselors were at Fajardo's school to help students deal with his loss. Hundreds of friends and family gathered over the weekend at a vigil to honor the teen. As for Fench, he is in the Clark County Detention Center for felony vehicular homicide, failing to slow down, and for not having a valid driver's license. Now, we are going to be following this court case this morning and should have updates for you later today. Kirsten and Demetria, back to you.
From the Clark County Detention Center. Hey, Nia.
Demetria, 47-year-old David Fench has been here since last Thursday's tragic crash, but he did make it to court this morning, where Judge Susan Bauckham called him an absolute danger to the Clark County community before holding him without bail. Thank you so much for these tips, and of course, head out the door early and leave with a lot of patience. Brian and Demetria, back to you.
Always good advice.
Investigators in New Mexico say they're questioning not just 1, but 2 men possibly involved in abducting Jane Priebe. Michael, I do have an update for you. I can confirm no kids were on board of this bus at the time of the crash. Unfortunately, one person is injured. What you're looking at is a Clark County School District bus now sitting in the backyard of a Northwest home. And Clark County Fire tells me this fire is turning out to be a little more trickier than anticipated. I'm going to step out of the way here where you can no longer see flames, but you can see a lot of dark smoke coming out of that empty building. Now, most of the roof, we've learned, has collapsed, and right now crews are waiting for the rest of it to go out, and that's really what's been helping them out here ever since this fire broke out around 3 this morning. Access has been the biggest challenge for more than 30 firefighters on the ground right now. I'm told the structure is made of cinder block with very few openings.
Trying to put hose lines, water in play at any point or in any window or doorway that we have.
Battalion Chief Touchstone says they know squatters have been known to live there, but as of right now, no official word on what caused this fire. Investigators will be out here for the next several hours trying to figure that out. Now, on top of battling this fire, crews are also trying to move their equipment in order to reopen the eastbound lanes of Desert Inn.
Ryan is sick today. We continue to follow some breaking news this morning. A woman killed on the east side of the valley. Nia Wong has been monitoring the developments all morning long and joins us now with the very latest. What can you tell us, Nia?
Well, Kirsten, Metro is calling this a homicide. They say one person is dead. The exact cause of death is still being determined, but they say this person was stabbed. You can see police are still on scene investigating behind me. Yellow crime scene tape is stretched across Boulder Highway and Whitney Avenue. Now, beyond this crime tape are residential homes where a majority of officers have been for the last several hours. We spoke to 2 people who claim to be witnesses. One of them says this happened just after midnight. They say they knew the victim. They say she was a woman and that she was stabbed outside of her home just beyond this yellow tape here. Now, those are some details. We are still waiting to confirm with Metro. As soon as we hear back from them, we will bring you the latest later this morning. Reporting live, Nia Wong, 8 News Now.
All right, thanks so much, Nia.
Police tell me this was not a random act. In fact, they believe the victim was targeted. Now they're just trying to figure out why. They say this happened after 9:30 last night. They say the victim is a 19-year-old woman and that she drove her Jeep to an empty home here on the 8500 block of Copper Knolls. Nearby surveillance picked up the voice of a man calling her to that house. She's seen going into the backyard and shortly after is shot once in the head. Now, as I mentioned, surveillance helped capture the woman's last moments, but it also caught 3 suspects entering this neighborhood before the shooting even occurred. 2 men were seen getting out of a gray 4-door Nissan on a nearby street. The first suspect is described as a man wearing a white hoodie and dark pants. After the victim was shot, he reportedly jumped an 8-foot fence into a neighbor's yard. The second suspect was seen wearing a dark hoodie and dark pants. Homicide detectives think the victim may have been involved in drugs.
We're in the process now of trying to find out why she was over here and who she was in contact with that she might have been meeting over here.
Police believe both suspects were picked up by that same Nissan seen on camera. So with the driver of the getaway vehicle, police are looking for 3 suspects on the loose this morning, but they don't believe there is any immediate danger to this area. Now, they are still going through surveillance footage from nearby homes, and they're going to be out here for the next several hours. Reporting live from the Northwest, Nia Wong, 8 News Now. Hey, good morning, Brian and Kirsten. Yeah, NV Energy workers are here right now at this hour trying to work on these power poles behind me. As you can see, the winds were so strong and was able to knock them down sometime during the height of it yesterday. Now, this caused a lot of headaches for drivers around here. While repairs were underway, traffic was gridlocked on Koval between Spring Mountain and Flamingo. Even at this hour, it's still shut down between those 2 streets. Now, we're talking about 60-mile-per-hour winds that not only took down power lines, but hit homes hard too. Just take a look. For homeowner Craig Stevens, he says he's used to windy days here in the valley, but this weekend gave him quite the surprise with these strong winds, sending a tree crashing onto his rooftop. He's happy no one was hurt, but isn't looking forward to the cleanup he's got to deal with.
The thought process of what it's going to do to get things back into the condition that it was once when I left the house this morning.
His home was just one of many affected by these high winds, taking down trees and power lines in the process. Of course, you've always got to put safety in mind first. If you do come across any downed power lines or downed trees, anything major like that, you've definitely got to call a professional and don't handle it yourself. Brian and Kirsten, back to you.
All right.
We just got those details in the last half hour, and police tell us it happened here at the Cascade at Mountains Edge Community. Just after 12:47 this morning, they say that a man burglarized a home on the 9800 block of River Trader Street. Now, he went on to another home in the area where he was caught on camera with a long gun. Metro says the victim shot and killed here is a 19-year-old woman. In fact, in the last half hour, we saw the coroner removing her body from the scene. Now, they say this happened around 9:30 last night. Based on what they put together so far, they say the woman drove her Jeep to an empty home here on the 8500 block of Copper Knolls. Nearby surveillance picked up the voice of a man calling her to that home. She enters into the home's backyard and shortly after is shot once in the head. Now, as I mentioned, surveillance helped capture the woman's last moments, but it also caught 3 suspects entering this neighborhood before the shooting actually occurred. 2 men were seen getting out of a gray 4-door Nissan on a nearby street. The first suspect is described as a man wearing a white hoodie and dark pants. After the victim was shot, he reportedly jumped an 8-foot fence into a neighbor's yard. The second suspect was seen wearing a dark hoodie and dark pants. Police believe both were picked up by that same Nissan seen on camera earlier. So with the driver of the getaway vehicle, police are looking for 3 suspects on the loose this morning, but they don't believe this is in any immediate danger to this area.
This looks like it was more of a planned, targeted thing that she was directed over to this residence, but we're not exactly sure why at this point.
Lieutenant McGrath says they're looking at narcotics as a possible reason. They're still going through more surveillance footage, but the big mystery here is figuring out what exactly brought the victim out here. Now, they are going through her phone to see who she was last in contact with. For now, they're going to be out here for the next several hours. Reporting live in the Northwest, Nia Wong, 8 News Now. All the holiday rush, agencies are urging people to share the road, and their big push came from this big bird right here. This is the 156th homicide under Metro's jurisdiction. Now we're coming dangerously close to the 2006 record, which saw 157 homicides that year. Police say this turned deadly after a third person stepped in. They say it happened here at the Durango Canyon Apartments around 9:30 last night. A man and a woman were arguing in one of the units. Investigators say they were formerly in a relationship and share a child together. Now, the argument then spilled into the parking lot of the complex, and as that was happening,
We have a follow-up to a story we told you about in October. After a Henderson community saw a spike of break-ins in their neighborhood, they decided to take action. And 8 News Now reporter Neil Wong joins us now live from the Anthem community to tell us more about the results. Neil?
Dave, after those series of violent break-ins, a group of volunteers banded together with the help of the Henderson Police Department to keep an eye out for each other. That was 2 months ago, and since then, not a single burglary at Solera. Kenneth Sawyer is making a list and checking it twice.
As we see a vehicle that we need to watch, we add it to the list.
But there's nothing jolly about this list. As the founder of the Anthem Crime Watch, Sawyer and his team of 28 volunteers are looking out for unwanted visitors.
We want to be seen by any potential burglars to let them know, hey, we're patrolling and we're watching.
Multiple teams patrol the Solera neighborhood, looking for anything suspicious to report to the Henderson Police Department. A total of 90 cases were called in during the last 2 months.
Every vehicle here that didn't have a name on it as a contractor or a utility, if it was parked there too long, we would report it.
Jeff Riddle has lived in Solera for 9 years, and though he's not an official member of the Anthem Crime Watch, he's compelled to be a good neighbor by helping out.
Right now, we've made a couple of arrests and burglaries in Henderson, and we're trying to see if we can tie those to these burglaries right now.
Captain Dane Mattoon with the Henderson Police Department says this is one of the most successful community watch groups he's seen.
The combination of them being engaged and out looking around for suspicious circumstances and people and cars, along with everybody hardening their target, all that together I think has come to fruition of fewer break-ins.
Captain Mattoon says these burglaries are still an open investigation, but until then he encourages other communities to start a community watch like Solera. Reporting live in Henderson, Nia Wong, 8 News Now.
Latest information. Good morning, Nia.
Good morning, Brian and Kirsten. As you can see, this fire is still very active behind me, but since I spoke to you in the last half hour, the smoke had cleared up a little bit. You can kind of see flames poking out of the building, but here's some footage we shot from earlier where you can get a better look at the flames. We know this fire broke out around 3 this morning. Now, when firefighters got on scene, they found this empty building, and originally Clark County Fire tells me they were going to use an offensive strategy where they actually tried to put it out from the inside, but since most of the structure is made of cinder block, it's really made access difficult, and that's been their biggest challenge. Right now, we've got about 8 units and more than 30 firefighters on the ground trying to put this fire out.
Trying to put hose lines, water in play at any point or in any window or doorway that we have.
Battalion Chief Touchstone says they know squatters have been known to live at this location, but as of right now, no official word on what caused this fire. Until then, expect fire crews to be out here for the next 2 hours. Reporting live from East Las Vegas, Nia Wong, 8 News Now. That's right, Brian and Kirsten, and today is expected to be the busiest travel day of the entire year. So if you're flying out of McCarran, there are some things you're going to want to know. Brian and Kirsten, it was the day before Halloween when police discovered this child at the Siegel Suites. That's on Boulder Highway near Flamingo, and police believe the boy, when he was hurt, was with his mother, 4 other kids, and 31-year-old Kenneth Robinson at the time. Now, they say he was taken to the hospital where he was later pronounced dead, and right now we still don't know his name or the official cause of death. That hasn't been released by the coroner's office just yet, but police say the boy had ligature marks and signs pointing to child abuse. Robinson is not a family member of the child and was booked into the Clark County Detention Center. Neighbors we spoke with say police activity is a common sight around the suites.
Everybody around this apartment knew that there was abuse or violence or something going on there.
It's a defenseless child. It warrants the ultimate punishment.
According to court records, no bail amount has been set for Robinson. We are still awaiting his arrest report, but we should have more information for you after his court appearance this morning. Brian and Kirsten.
All right, thanks very much, Nia. Now, 75 firefighters from the Henderson Fire Department and Las Vegas Fire and Rescue spent their morning dangling from the high roller, all part of training. That's right, News Now reporter Nia Wong joins us live with more on this training. Hi, Nia.
Hi, Kirsten. Well, this is where they do their annual training every year since the high roller opened. Now the exercise is finished this morning, but you could say this year they took their training to new heights. The top of the high roller is a good opportunity for a nice view of the strip.
We're sending our first rescuer over now.
But for firefighters,
this is like the big football game. We're doing the practicing right here.
Firefighters from Las Vegas Fire and Rescue and the Henderson Fire Department spent Tuesday morning brushing up rescue strategies in case a catastrophic event were to ever hit the high roller.
They will be lowering them down from a little higher than we've done before. We've usually done it about halfway down the wheel, but they're at the very top.
That's nearly 550 feet high, and at that height,
we want to make sure that our equipment works. We want to make sure that it works with Henderson's equipment, and we also want to refresh our skills.
Tim Zemansky with Las Vegas Fire and Rescue says there are a number of working safety systems already in place, and he would know since Las Vegas Fire and Rescue threw in their design suggestions when the high roller was built 3 years ago.
There are special places for us to hook up our ropes and other things that we would need equipment put on the side in special rooms.
He calls this a last-ditch rescue, one that fortunately has not been needed in the past.
We never anticipate that we would have to go that far, but to know that they have our back in case of an emergency gives us just that added level of comfort.
Valley firefighters aren't the only ones who get to use this unique training ground. Last year, they were joined by firefighters from Orlando and New York City. Reporting live from the high roller, Nia Wong, 8 News Now.
All right, thanks very much, Nia.
Gonzalez faces several charges, but according to his arrest report, he says he was forced to commit the crime. Now, Gonzalez tells police when he entered Vegas, him and 3 other men grabbed fake guns and animal masks before they entered the Bellagio on Saturday morning. They say the group is seen here on video, and the arrest report goes on to reveal they used a sledgehammer to smash cases filled with valuables before taking off for the garage. That's when the group realized they forgot the keys to their getaway car. They tried several unsuccessful carjackings but eventually ran off. However, Gonzalez says he was too tired to run. He hid behind a parked car where security eventually found him. His arrest report says he tells police he had to engage in the burglary because people in Mexico were threatening to hurt his family. The whole ordeal sent guests scrambling at the Bellagio.
my husband started to count the police cars, and I thought he was just kidding. So when he got to maybe like the 20th car, that's when I jumped up out of my seat.
After police grilled Gonzalez even more, Gonzalez says his group were going to take the GPS trackers off of the merchandise they stole, then run off to San Diego or Tijuana. Police are still looking for the other 3 men who were part of this burglary. They're urging anybody with more information to call Crime Stoppers. As for Gonzalez, he is at the Clark County Detention Center, where this morning he's going to face a number of charges for robbery, burglary, and conspiracy to commit robbery. Brian and Kirsten, back to you. Investigators were here all night and well into the morning trying to figure out what brought this woman to this neighborhood and why she walked into the backyard of this home, never to walk out.
Don't be too relaxed and take anything for granted. For the past 19 years, things do change.
When Matt Jordan stepped out of his home of 19 years for an early morning jog, he never expected to see this sight just a few doors down.
I was shocked, really. I thought they had the wrong street or the wrong neighborhood or something.
Police say the victim is a 19-year-old woman, and surveillance from nearby homes captured a male voice calling her to the back of this house. They say shortly after, she was shot in the head. When Tina Villalobos heard gunfire, she didn't believe it came from her own neighborhood.
I actually heard the noise and I thought it was coming from the park across the street.
Investigators say after the woman was shot, surveillance video shows 2 men leaving the scene in what's believed to be a gray 4-door Nissan.
Because we moved here in 1998 and we've been here ever since, and it's gotten progressively worse.
Tanya May remembers a different time, a time when she never saw criminal activity on such a consistent basis or to this extreme. But now
it seems like every 2 weeks there's a problem over here with some type of unmentionable things going on, and this is ridiculous. This is absolutely over the top.
Police say the victim was targeted and don't believe there's an immediate threat to this neighborhood.
Well, there's a lot of camaraderie here and togetherness, so this is the reason why we are so concerned.
Police believe narcotics could have played a role, but for now, they're going through surveillance footage to find answers. Reporting live in the Northwest, Mia Wong, 8 News Now.
Thank you.